Okay.
Hi. I think we're live, aren't we?
I guess we're live. Giles, good afternoon.
Good morning, Mark. It is now afternoon in the UK.
It's now afternoon. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, talking to us.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you. For those logging in and don't know Bremont Watch Company, Giles English is the co-founder, together with his brother Nick, of an English watch company. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, Giles, you guys created Bremont in 2002.
Yep.
5 years later, first watches were launched on the market. And we met, if I remember correctly, Basel 2014. I fell in love. I need to pay credit where it's due. Gerard Nijenbrinks, today with Fratello Watches, back in the day had a store in The Hague, and he was the first to represent you guys in the Netherlands. So a huge watch aficionado, and he knows the early trends. So a shout out to Gerard. His store ceased to exist, and today we're proud to represent Bremont exclusively in the Netherlands. And it's ever been a true joy to work with both Nick, you, the whole team. Amazing people, fun-loving. So thank you for the trust, Giles.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Well, your first broadcast, isn't it?
This is the first broadcast, so that's what I wanted to say. So for those that don't know us, I'm Alon and Joseph, together with my brother, the co-owner of Ace Jewelers. Family-owned, family-run business like yours. We love watches, jewelry, and luxury. Due to these weird times and no fairs, although we had a minor fair in Geneva the last week, we were thinking with our team, what should we do to share our passion, knowledge, and fun in the industry with our customers, because without them, we can't exist. So we came up with this idea. The Aces used to be a coffee table book. After 4 volumes, we made it into a digital platform, and now we're taking it a step further, so call it 3.0, into video sessions. And this shows the pioneering spirit of Bremont, because when we approached our partners, you guys were the first to jump on the bandwagon. You said yes immediately, no questions asked. So thank you for that.
Our pleasure.
Well,
we like to be first on things.
Like Ace, right? That's why we're such a good match. We'll dive into Bremont a bit later. What we did is, since this is the first episode in the first season, we are going to start off with a wrist check. Then we'll have 7 standard Ace list questions, which we'll ask every guest. And then we're going to go freestyle. And everybody who logged in, please shoot your questions. The last 15 minutes of our 45 minutes session, we'll try to answer everything. So let's start with a wrist check. Giles, what are you wearing today?
So this is the Arrow. So
nice.
Which is the chronograph we make for the military. So I don't know if anyone knows, but 25% of our business is just making for military around the world, and we were made supplier to the MOD, the Ministry of Defence. And we came up with 3 commercially available collections: the broadsword for the Army, the Argonaut for the Navy, and this is the Arrow mono pusher.
Which I want to jump in. If I'm not mistaken, you guys are the first ever to produce watches for all segments of the British Army. So every watch has HMAF, right? Which is Her Majesty's Armed Forces.
Exactly.
In the watch industry, watch fanatics know the Dirty Dozen or the famous Broad Arrow, but that's always Air Force, right?
Well, the Dirty Dozen was mostly Air Force, but Dirty Dozen, obviously, in the World War II, the British services went out to 12 different companies to make watches for the military. And the broad arrow you see, the arrow on those military watches, that is an arrow symbolizing that watch has to be owned by the Ministry of Defence. So you're not allowed to legally sell something with that arrow on it unless it's trade surplus. So we don't do the broad arrow because it's illegal to do that on a watch unless it's actually owned by the Ministry of Defence. But we've been making for the military for years and working with the MOD. But then the MOD said, look, actually, are you happy to do some commercially available watches? And we came out with the Armed Forces collection.
Yeah, which the Argonaut is my favorite. I love the one you're wearing. It's not a single pusher chronograph like a mono pusher, but I love the fact that you guys have a single pusher besides the crown of the watch. So compliments. I love that series.
No, and the Argonaut I love as well.
I love the two crowns. So
it's a good look.
Yeah. So me myself, I'm wearing my oldie but goodie.
Oh,
Alt 1C, the classic chronograph 2-counter. Love it. I have it on the original leather NATO strap, the Bremont strap. So one of my favorites. So together with the MB, but we'll do a deep dive on the MB because I love these watches. I love the story behind it, and we'll talk a bit about the configurator you guys developed. So that's the wrist check. Now let's do the 7 questions, the aceless questions.
Yeah.
First one. What watch, and you can choose a jewel if you want, is your favorite and why?
Well, it is. I saw that question, and that's like saying which is your favorite child. I mean, it really is the watch you've got on your wrist. I think probably a watch. There are sort of 2 key watches for us: the Martin Baker, because it really propelled ourselves into the military, and probably the EP120, which is our first limited edition watch we ever did. That
was amazing.
Very famous Spitfire in it. So there's some 2. But do you know the great thing about watch design? Depending on how you're feeling, you put another watch on and you love it for that day. And we're proud of the entry-level ones to the watches we've worked with Ronnie Wood, where he's hand-painted the dials. So it's a sort of it's a hard question to answer, that one.
And when we made that question, I thought you would answer maybe the first ever Bremont watch that came out of production. Which one was that, by the way? That was a question of mine.
The 2 watches we ever prototyped first was the Alt-1P, the classic pilot's chronograph, and the cream version of that watch you're wearing, the Alt-1C.
Which my brother has, by the way. I went for the black one. My brother has a cream one. Interesting. Okay, cool. So, second question. What did you want to be when you grew up?
So I always wanted to be an engineer, and specifically, I went and studied naval architecture. So I did general engineering, and I wanted to design boats. I love boats, and I always saw watches as just a passion rather than a career. And then, my father, he was an amazing guy. He loved his watches and clocks, so we grew up with that passion. And then when he died in the plane crash with Nick, and Nick survived, that was our sort of tipping point to go and do something we loved. And really sort of saw watches as being a potential career. But and I wanted to design boats, be in naval architecture originally.
Nice. So you're designing now even more beautiful mechanical pieces, which are watches. Funny that you say that, though, because those that follow Giles and Nick, for that matter, on their personal social media accounts, you'll see obviously a lot of planes. I think it's very important to know that Bremont's logo are propellers.
Yeah, that's right. I like the
crown of the watch. But it's not a made-up story. These guys are pilots. Their father was a pilot. You just mentioned that the unfortunate story of losing your father.
Nick and I were sponsored both through university by the RAF. Our father was ex-RAF, and that was very much. We were lucky having this amazing dad. The plane we still fly. He sort of aviation's always been cool.
So aviation, you see a lot of planes and you see a lot of cars, vintage cars. I love your Defender, by the way.
Yeah.
I've seen some tractors passing by.
I love a tractor.
I've hardly seen a boat, so we'll look out for that. So let's jump to the third question. Who's your role model? And I guess I know the answer.
Yeah, it has to be my dad, really. He was an amazing guy, and we miss him dreadfully. And I'm sure Nick would say me. I'm his role model. But
who's the elder one of the two?
Next 3 years older, but
Oh, he's
I've,
older.
I've got the grey hair because I was
Yeah.
looking after him.
Yeah, good. All right, man. Bless your father's memory. Fourth question: if you could teleport tomorrow, where would you go?
Well, obviously the day before Dad's crash, but being a bit more positive, I think probably, I was thinking about this, I think the day the Wright brothers flew their first flight, and we did this lovely watch called the Wright Flyer, and it's such an amazing feat to design the first propeller, to design your engine, you put on a plane, to be the first ever pilot.
Amazing, isn't it?
Fly that plane and design the first wind tunnels, and everything about that first flight, I think, was just an amazing feat. And to have stood there at Kitty Hawk and watch it fly, I think.
Which was what, 1903 or 4?
1903, yeah.
1903, yeah. So think about it. And I was speaking to my son, who's almost 4 this morning, and he wanted TV this morning, and we're very tight on screen time. So I said to him, did you know that Grandpa and Grandma, both of them, he's fortunate to have all of them, didn't have TV when they grew up as a kid? So he looked at me, said, didn't have a phone. So he looked at me, what did they do? I said, they read books and they went to play outside. But when you think about that, flying is so normal today. I was reading the book, The Cartiers. I don't know if you've read it.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because it's basically a history book. And they vividly describe the relationship with the Santos. So it was also amazing how this, I think, Argentinian guy came to Paris at the peak of that city and flew. But okay, let's go on. Thank you for answering. Question 5. What book are you currently reading?
It's a Life and Madness of Howard Hughes. And I've read lots of Howard Hughes books over the years. And I'm slightly obsessed with him as a character. I think he was this amazing businessman, engineer, pioneer, pilot. I mean, he used helicopters to defense systems, to one of the largest production film businesses, to setting up TWA Airlines, to his pilot exploits. He's an amazing individual. He basically put Vegas on the map. This guy did everything. And
so you recommend reading this book?
I recommend reading it. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's Howard Hughes, His Life and Madness.
Sorry. So you guys, you see, we're not even 50 minutes into the session. Question 5, and we're just talking planes and pilots, right? So these guys live and breathe aeronautical experiences. Question 6. What do you think is going to be the color of next year, so 2021?
2021. Difficult one. I see greens coming back, a few watches. We did a first green with the Alt 1C collection years ago, so it's interesting. I think I see that coming in a bit of a trend this year, and I think more will be coming in next year.
Well, the British claim green, right? British racing green.
Exactly. So we did it. Yeah. It's hilarious. It's one of those watches that everyone loved, but no one really bought them because they thought it was avant-garde. Yeah. And I think people will be buying. So green. I put.
But I think you're being modest, which all of you truly are. You're very modest. I write columns, a lot of columns, and one of my columns was 2020 is green. So I agree with you. But for next year, I think you guys are avant-garde, fashion forward, because you guys did something bold. In the configurator for the MB, you guys have purple. And I think that's going to be the color for next year.
I do.
You're being modest because you guys saw it, coined it.
Yeah.
Let the consumer decide by personalizing their watch. Well, let's maybe talk a little bit further about that, because I believe you posted the black MB with a purple barrel.
Yeah, that's quite interesting.
And that was
stunning.
It was you, right?
We developed the purple because we did a military watch for the Queen's household guard, so who look after the Queen, and obviously they wanted purple because that's how. So yeah, that's where that came from.
Nice. Okay, last question. Have you been to Amsterdam before? And what's your favorite memory?
I have. I've been a number of times, but the first time I went, I sailed there with my dad and the family, and we sailed across the North Sea.
Nice.
And we got into Hague, and there's the thickest fog you've ever seen. and we couldn't go in and out because you couldn't see more than a few meters. So we had to anchor out for about 12 hours to wait for this fog to lift. And I just have amazing memories of these big ships going past and us sitting in this little boat. And then we got there, and it's such a stunning place. I'm a massive fan of it, and would love to go back and spend more time there.
Amazing. So if Nick was on the show, he had to answer the premiere we did in the Netherlands for the Kingsman, because he flew in for that day.
I forgot actually. That was
yeah. Talking about fog, by the way, my wife is English, and we always have a dispute where there is more rain, London or Amsterdam. So what's your opinion on that?
I wouldn't like to judge. I don't think we have that much rain in England. It's all you've got all the tulips. They need lots of rain at that time.
Obviously. So thank you for that. We can chat about anything we want. Maybe what I want to do is see if I can summarize the brand Bremont properly. When a customer comes into our stores and they ask about Bremont or don't know about Bremont, I introduce it as a high-end watchmaker, British brand, up until a few years ago, Swiss made. Today, cases made in Silverstone, whereas you guys are based in Henley-on-Thames, not so far from London. It says London on the dial because it's Greater London. That's what I say. And pioneering spirit with a strong focus on aviation and explorers, because you explore the planet. So sea, land, air. That's a bit how I summarize it. Elegant, understated English style of design. High quality and unique features for me that I focus on is especially design of cases. So it's usually, I call them wings.
Yeah.
Triple case. Hardened steel. Something that I think is often forgotten. And then a layer on top is that you guys have amazing collaborations. So we earlier mentioned Martin Baker, so maybe you could tell a bit about that. You had a amazing partnership with Boeing that ended, right?
Recently ended that.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll look at the future. HMAF or the MOD, it's an amazing partnership. Jaguar, obviously, I want to dive into that because I love cars as well. So maybe you could elaborate a bit on that and correct me if my summary was good. Do I miss something?
I think you we see it in really three key pillars. So British engineering. So as much as we can do in the UK as possible. So that is all our design engineers, our machinists. So as you mentioned, we're machining all our cases. We're doing some movement components. We're building this amazing new facility. So at the end of the year, you'll be able to come. You can see, bars of metal being machined to watchmakers. We set up a full apprenticeship training scheme in the UK for watchmakers.
And you do assemble all the movements already, right? For a long time in the UK.
We did all that for years.
And you're gearing towards producing parts. That's something I forgot to mention.
We've been working for the last 4 years on a full British movement, and that's an amazing project. We've always made tweaks to movements, working mostly with Le Juperay in Switzerland on that.
And we will share a bit, right?
Sorry?
And Vautier.
Yes, we've done with them.
Which are top-notch producers of movements.
Yeah. So we've got we worked some lovely things there. So if you come at the end of the year, you'll see all of this under one roof. And for a small independent business like us, and we're in the top 10 largest chronometer producers in the world now, but you'll in the numbers compared with the big guys, it's tiny numbers. But we're doing as much in-house as possible, and that's a big thing. And the British engineering part, that's, we love working with other British companies, whether it's, as you said, Jaguar, Martin Baker, British Airways. The next thing is pillar is aviation and military. So I mentioned before about the stuff we do in the aviation and military side, and that was, we always saw an aviation watch as not being it's not a diving watch, and it's not a dress watch. It's that middle ground of watch. You don't have to be a pilot, but it's a beautiful watch, and we wanted something that was tough. So hence the hardening, case hardening, the vibration mount technology built into this stuff. We wanted people to wear it not only in the.
By the way, he says it very elegantly. That means shockproof.
Yes. Yeah. You can wear in the boardroom or up Mount Everest. That was always our remit. And then adventure. It was about wearing and discovering the world with your watch on, and rather than it just being a dress watch. And so all the explorers, something like
they're meant to be worn.
They're meant to be worn. And Project Possible with Nims, who's just climbed the 14 highest peaks in 6.5 months when the nearest record was under 8 years, just under 8 years. I mean, we worked with some amazing people there. So you sum it up well. But we say when you buy a Bremont watch, you enter the Bremont family. It's we want that connection with our clients. You're getting something very special.
I want to add to that, if I may, Giles, because you and I have actually a good story about that. That it's not a marketing story, that Giles and Nick are the founders and they are ambassadors of the brand. They really run the company. They breed the company 24/7. You can see that on their social media. But I had the honor to sell a watch. Collector from abroad came in, wanted to buy from us. Super happy. There was a production flaw. Could happen. I called them Monday watches. The watchmakers didn't have enough coffee on Monday morning. It's manual labor. It's handmade. Things can go wrong. They're mechanical pieces of art. So something went wrong with that specific piece. We wanted to give them the superior service, which you guys also vouch for. So I got in touch with Bremont. Hey, how can we get the turnaround time down to have his watch repaired? You jumped in. I don't know how you saw the email. You jumped in, said, listen, what's the story? We can't manage that expectations. I'm sending you expedited a new one. So that blew the customer's mind. He was a watch collector. He took a chance on Bremont because he didn't really know it that much. And that shows for me what a family-owned, family-run, independent company is about. And that's how they excel. So, and that for me as a retailer also gives me faith to represent you guys as an ambassador with full heart. So you really, you, as the Americans say, you put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally. So that's a nice anecdote that I wanted to share, which you see still sticks with me.
Oh, that's nice. Customer service is just key in this industry, as you know.
Which you and I find, but a lot of brands forget, unfortunately.
Because people are spending so much money, and we always say, look, if you come and see a watch being built, you realize how complicated it all is. Your appreciation for that, but never underestimate your clients. The fact they're spending so much money, and we're honored that they're putting their faith in us in the first place. It's key.
And you mentioned the come see Henley-on-Thames. That is also not a empty promise. The English family and the Bremont team invited us over and over. Obviously, due to the situation we're in with the COVID-19, we have postponed a factory visit, but we're definitely gonna come with Bremont fans and consumers. So those that are watching live or afterwards, we'll obviously post this video on the different channels afterwards. Send us a message if you want to join us. So as soon as things clear up, probably next summer.
Yeah.
So are you guys still building? Are the constructors working?
Yeah. So we should have been in August. It's been delayed, but we'll be in by the end of the year. And it's just would love you to come and visit us because it really is quite a special place.
Yeah. So they keep on inviting us, and it's not an empty invitation. So we're going to come. So that's amazing. Can you tell us a bit, Giles, a bit more about the Martin Baker partnership? Maybe tell them what Martin Baker is for those that don't know, maybe briefly.
So Martin Baker are an amazing business. They make 75% of the Western world's ejection seats. And the British company based in London. They've got offices around the world and test centers around the world. But they set out, it was originally Mr. Martin and Mr. Baker were making planes in the Second World War. And Mr. Baker was test flying an aircraft, got stuck in a high-speed dive, couldn't get out and died. And Mr. Martin said, look, for the rest of my life, I'm going to save people, and invented the ejection seat. And over all those years, they perfected this amazing piece of kit. And we met them about, it must have been 12, 14 years ago. And Andrew Martin said, look, we give ties to the Ejection Club. We'd love to work on you on creating a watch that we can gift, or we subsidize for the chap who's just been ejected out of that aircraft. And we say, great, we can put a logo on the dial and off we go. And no, this needs to have gone through live ejection testing. And if you think about a live ejection, that's not so bad. It's probably 30G being pushed. But it's not about that. It's about the crash testing they do. They do vibration testing. So they can test a rig within about 3 hours, 40 years of live vibration, salt fog, heat, cold, depending where that aircraft's being operated. And we did about 2 years of testing and redesigned the way a watch works, really, and how that movement sits in a case, and came up with the MB collection. And the MB one is the ejection watch. You see it with a red barrel on. And because we have this 3-piece case, we're able to use different materials. So the MB is made out of, mostly aluminium, the internal barrel, so we can color it. And the MB2, which was 3 key colors, we launched that with. And really that triggered us in the military world. And our first call we got was from U-2 spy plane squadron in Deal in the States. And they said, look, if you can certify this watch to work at minus 40 at 80,000 feet, we'll take it on. And we had no idea how to do that, but Martin Baker did, and we did it, and that's just sort of produces.
Those are the most amazing wrist shots ever.
I mean, they are.
For those that don't follow Bremont online or don't know Bremont that much, you'll see fighter pilots in their cockpits taking selfies.
We love that.
With their Bremont watch on, and these are not Photoshop, right?
No.
And there are hundreds of them out there.
These are real pilots doing their stuff. And
yeah. So where can people find them? On the dedicated Bremont military account?
Yeah, the Bremont military is an amazing account. These are just for the military people, or follow our Bremont Watches account on Instagram. You'll
is
see.
It, just tell me if I make a typo, military. Tell me if this is correct.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it? On Instagram is the best one, I guess.
Yeah, do that or Bremont Watches, both those accounts.
Awesome. Okay, so let's just quickly freeze and talk about that red tie. So you're a fighter pilot. Unfortunately, you need to eject.
Yeah.
Fortunately enough, it saves your life.
Yeah.
The only thing you get is a red tie, and I'm saying this sarcastically, obviously. That's why the only watches in the market that you'll find that are Bremont X Martin Baker collab watches with a red barrel. So Bremont watches have a barrel. Oh, I see my camera is reversed.
Yeah.
All the red ones you'll find means you can only purchase them if you're actually, let's call it a survivor. I don't like to use that word, but an ejectee.
Ejectee.
Correct?
You're correct, and it has your ejectee number.
Because you get a number.
So every ejectee has a number. They've saved about 7,800 odd lives or something. So you have your ejection number and the date you got ejected.
Okay, so this story sounded like a marketing gimmick. People didn't believe it. I think the biggest boost on this particular watch you got from Jimmy Fallon, the American comedian host, right?
So he came into our store in Mayfair one day, and I didn't even know.
In London, he's an American guy walking the street in Mayfair, London. Yep.
Walking by, and he comes in and sees this ejection seat and says, "Oh, what's that? Is that an electric chair or something?" And so I told him the full story about him. You get the watch, and he went, I'm sure my father-in-law was ejected. Anyway, we didn't hear anything more. About 3 weeks later, he sent an email in and said, my father-in-law was ejected. Can I get him the watch?
Yeah.
And I said, great. Yeah, as long as he's still alive, he can have the watch because that's the deal. And sent him the watch. And about a few weeks after that, on his show, he presented the watch on his show to his father-in-law. And it was
so he invited his father-in-law to come see the show. I don't know if he was wearing the tie. Was he?
I don't know if he's wearing the tie.
He invited him as a surprise. Come on the show. He said, come sit in the seat. So he didn't want to come to sit next to him on the live. What's the show called? The late night.
Exactly, yeah.
Late night, he sat him down, presented him the watch, which wasn't a marketing gimmick, right? He really bought that watch from you guys.
Yeah, totally. And
we got flooded by requests afterwards. So that was an amazing story. So tell me a bit about the configurator you guys launched recently.
So we felt the Martin Baker, because we can do all these different barrel colors and we have different dials, and we were coming out with an updated version. We felt, actually, why can't clients actually choose the exact combination of strap, dial, color of case, bezel, open case back, closed case back? Because the closed case back was always there because of the Faraday cage, but a lot of people like seeing an open case back, so they wanted that. And there are about 1,000 different variations you can go on into your retailer.
Does that glass case back affect the shockproofness of the watch? Because the Martin Baker watches are shockproof. You have MB2 and MB3. MB3 is GMT, has an additional hour hand.
Exactly.
Does that affect the shockproofness?
No, it only affects the Faraday cage because you're opening the case back, but it doesn't affect the shockproof.
Which is amagnetism. That's what Giles means. So they made the watches amagnetic and shockproof.
Yeah.
And what I love the best is the seconds hand that has the loop for the ejection sheet, which I have, by the way, from you guys as a keychain.
It's very simple, but it's there. And when you're designing these watches, you want they to be a discovery. You don't want these things shouting out. You just want to subtly see them. And, no, it's a lovely watch and quite unique in the case and everything else. So it's and the different strap combinations, come up with this brilliant new rubber strap to go with it. And it's brilliant for a retailer. You can sit there and go through with the client and show them all the different combinations and order it from there.
Amazing. So I think we can chat for hours. I see we're already 30 minutes in. I see a lot of comments coming in. I have some questions from viewers that can log in. Yep. Should we maybe deal with them? And then if we have some time left, we'll talk a bit the Jaguar.
Brilliant. Let's do that.
Idea? So let me see. The most recent is Gerard.
Hey,
nice to follow you. Your chat here. Gerard, I hope you heard the shout out. Thank you for logging in. Good to have you here.
No, it was our first year, as you were saying before, retailer, and properly knows his watches, and a lovely man as well.
Lovely. It's a gentleman. So it's still a pleasure to work with him at Fratello, which are our friends. So thank you, Gerard. So that was on Facebook. On YouTube, Ralph writes that hardened steel is no joke. My MB3 has, unlike all my other watches, not a single scratch. And I wore it quite a lot. Thanks for sharing, Ralph. Interesting.
So that the way that hardness works is we take a normal 316L steel and we treat it the same company that does hardening on things like turbine blades for jet engines. So it takes it from a normal about 350 Vickers to 2,000 Vickers in hardening.
And do you do that with heat?
It does it with lots of heat. It up to about 800 degrees. It diffuses carbon in this chamber. Very expensive, but just means if you hit it really hard, yes, it will go through. But all the little scratches on that 3 micron layer, it layers on top, you don't pick those up. And we just felt it was a lovely thing to do, and that's part of the reason we had to have the 3-piece case, because when we service it, we can't polish it, so we replace that top bezel as part of that service. And
let me add a question to that: the color treated cases. So if they're black, It's DLC, right? You guys.
That's DLC.
I'm like carbon.
Yeah.
That's enough for the hardness. You don't do a hardening treatment afterwards, right?
No, Diamond Like Carbon has a hardening treatment on it, but you are dependent on how hard that treatment is.
Okay, thank you. So next question on YouTube as well. Mr. Marugs, I think that's William.
Yeah.
Any plans for a Bremont in-house movement? Good question. Thank you, William.
So, William, we started that about 4.5 years ago with an amazing movement designer called Stephen McDonald, who just joined us after he designed the perpetual calendar for MB&F, and an amazing guy, British individual, and we've been working on that. Finished the designs for that probably a year or two ago, and we're prototyping and working. You can't rush these things because every component of that movement we've customized, and it has to be right. And even things like the gear teeth profiles, we've redesigned all of those. So it's a really exciting future project for us, and hopefully you'll see that in the next couple of years.
Do you dare to put an estimate of timeline on that?
It's so difficult.
We won't pick on it.
We'd love to see it in the next couple of years out. But the challenge, we don't just want it going into the high-end LE watches. We want it going into more core, and that's the challenge, getting the cost down on it.
Are you thinking of a time-only piece first off?
Probably to start off with, yes. But it's
so base caliber, time, seconds, and date. Okay, thank you, William. Next one on YouTube as well. That's my colleague Dala. Thank you. He did a thumbs up and a bump, an elbow bump.
Elbow bump. Yeah.
That's a COVID responsible emoji. Thank you, Dala. Next one on YouTube, Rocky. He created the Watch 4 crew, big group of watch fanatics in Amsterdam. They are going to come with us to Henley on Thames, so watch out for these guys. What do you think of full not only bezel, bronze Bremont watches? Good question, Rocky.
Well,
Charles.
Rocky, so the project possible is part bronze, but a full bronze bezel. I'd say watch this space. Possibly, had we not gone into lockdown, you would have seen something earlier. But watch this space on that. We did present something early in the year to journalists, but we didn't actually launch it. So I think you may find something coming sooner rather than later on that front. We sort of resisted it for a while because a lot of the treatments we were using and trialing on bronze didn't quite weather how we wanted it to do. We feel we've got it there now. So and I think it's a good look. I think only a bronze watch, it's something for a collector, not for your normal first or second watch. It's something for a collector because it takes.
Which is important to say that those don't know, bronze oxidates and tarnishes rather quickly, and that's the whole purpose and fun of it, because each wearer will get a different color and finish to his watch depending on the acidity and the weather he lives in, or her. And that's cool. Will you harden it? It's relatively soft as well.
It is relatively soft. You can't just use normal bronze. You have to do treatments with it, otherwise it scratches too easily.
But you'll keep the characteristic of tarnishing.
You want the characteristic. That's the reason of having a bronze. And the great thing is, you can, if it tarnishes too much, you put a bit of lemon juice and polish it up and put it back.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Rocky. His crew is waking up. So we have Telly, who is a crew member, as you see. He says good vibes. Thank you for joining in, Telly. Good to see you.
Appreciate it.
Another team member, Peter. He hopes so. I assume he hopes about the bronze. Thank you for joining us on Facebook, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
We have Dala again. If given the chance, what would be your dream brand or company to do a collaboration with next? Good question, Dala.
it's a very good question. Quite interesting. Our partnerships over the years have been really important to us. Whether it was a Boeing, even the historical ones of Norton Motorbikes, or at the time they're very important. British Airways, more recently, when we did the supersonic watch. And what it does, Nick and I do all the design of these watches, and it's complete inspiration working with these partners. And they may be very technical partners like a Martin Baker or more commercial ones. If we look at Jaguar as a partnership, and mentioned that earlier, Jaguar, we'd been designing clocks for them. So the last James Bond film with that orange CX-71 Jaguar, and we designed the original mechanical watch for that car, working with Ian Callum, the chief designer. We did a couple of other concept cars.
Which is in marketing, by the way, right, Giles? Just to jump in on the Jaguar, you literally work one-on-one with Ian.
Yeah,
he's a fan, right? He loves Bremont.
He's a great. We've come very close, and we work.
It's an organic partnership.
No, we were working with him for about 5 years before we even decided to do a watch, and then they did the lightweight E-types. They made a number of those, and we did a watch. They commissioned us to do a watch for each one of those owners, with the engine block and chassis number on the watch. It's a beautiful watch, white gold. And we did that, and then we all looked at each other and said, actually, we should commercially launch this. So really these partnerships, yes, we both get marketing out of it, and you could say we get more out of it, but actually you're creating something that Nick and I really believe in. It's design inspiration. And so, yes, there are a few more partners, and you'll hear something in the next couple of months over a new partnership that we've been working with for a while. That's really exciting for us because they're a brilliant business. And so these are evolving. We don't want too many. We don't ever want to dilute who Bremont is and confuse people. But if it can further our watches, both on a technical and inspirational level, then it's great.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us. Another Watch 4 crew member, Melvin. Hi, guys. Interesting chat for sure.
Thank you for listening, Melvin.
Thank you, Melvin. Good to have you here as well. Thank you for the love. We love the Watch 4 crew. Melvin says, waking up. On Facebook, we have Eddie Platts.
Eddie Platts. Brilliant. Love Eddie.
Greetings, Giles. Fascinating stuff. Thank you for joining, Eddie.
Eddie owns Smith's Watches.
Okay.
Runs an amazing forum in the UK and has been in the industry for many years. So he's a
dear colleague. Nice to meet you, Eddie. And then we have on YouTube Rob Nuds, our mutual friend, ex-Bremont.
Yes.
E-Type Limited, beautiful watch.
The E-Type, it may not be for everyone, that watch. It's very symbolic of those original Smith stars and those E-Type watch cars, but it seems to be very popular, and there's so much detail goes into that watch with those big hands, and we tweak that design as we go along, but we felt the Jaguar, that historical side of Jaguar, it's got such
amazing car. Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you, Rob. Melvin is back. What's your favorite strap type and why? NATO ? Leather ? Rubber ? Steel ? Or ?
Or it's most of our watches. We started off very early with obviously leather, and NATO came into it. I do like a NATO. We're on this latest Arrow. We have this weathered strap, which is a sort of canvasy, not the NATO, and so we've changed the way that works. That I'm really enjoying, actually.
So nice strap. Some leather accents as well.
Yeah, I do really love. We've got a leather NATO strap, which I really like. It's this. Actually, if you got it on your watch there.
I love it. It's thin, nice brown color. So Come get yours, Melvin. We have one waiting for you.
Yeah.
Gerard is back. By the way, I'm reading out all these questions because we are going to upload them as podcasts after this show. So when people listen to this without visuals, they know what the questions are. So hence I'm reading them out loud. Gerard asks on YouTube, could a partnership be established with an online watch entity like Hodinkee or Fratello as well? Or are Bremont's collaborations bound to technical partners?
Historically, they have just been bound to technical partners, but I think we all see more watch brands working with the Hodinkees and the Fratellos and many others, and I think that makes sense. It works. Those partnerships. I think we're always very aware that Bremont's always been accused of being a marketing brand, which is slightly strange, being that we don't have much money to spend on marketing. Nothing compared with the big guys,
and none of the stories are made up.
No, and that's
what they mean in that insult usually.
Well, I think that is it, and we have had an interesting background and career growing up, so that's where most of this sort of love comes from. But I think working with the non-technical partners, I think it's inevitable the next stages. So yes, I do think that will probably happen at some point.
But Gerard, you do understand that if Fratello does it, it's going to be a triangle relationship together with Ace. Well, we actually have something in the pipeline. So we're good friends with Fratello and all the members. And Robert Jan, the founder, is a good friend also. So we believe in building bridges instead of competing and working together. I think these are volatile times and retail is changing. So as long as you have passion and add value, why not, right?
Oh, listen, I'm retail, online, offline, brands. It is a changing world. We all have to work together on that.
Yeah.
You have to offer what the customer wants, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe to link to that comment and question, we have been brainstorming Bremont and Ace about a collab between us to create a dedicated piece for us. So this is a question to all you viewers. Do you think we should make one? So maybe we'll get some answers on that. In the time being, let's go to the next one. Giles, you're popular. We're getting flooded with questions, and we already hit the 45 minutes mark. Should we keep going?
Yeah, 5 more minutes, and then
5 more minutes. Come on, let's get going.
Telly here in the UK, I'll get.
Telly writes, I want a red barrel, but I don't have a plane to eject from. Can you arrange something for the crew? No, we can't. But configure yours online.
Yeah, sadly,
I'll answer that one for you. Yeah.
Interesting. Martin Baker is so strict, and we are about. You can only be a surviving member. The family can't get it if it's a non-surviving member, and it's a difficult thing to get hold of.
Yeah. So Rob Nuds writes, "Hi guys, good to see you both. Thank you, Rob.
You're up.
Watch 4 crew member Peter on Facebook. I'm in the car at the moment. Went wrong, but the chat is certainly interesting. Please don't drive, Peter. I hope you're parked, but thank you for logging in on the go.
Watch. It's very dangerous.
Yeah. I hope he's parked. So I'm not too worried about him. Rob Nuts again. The Fratello showcase in Ace and Dick is the next step. I'm sure Bremont Limited created jointly would fly. So he's giving away a bit of the partnership we're working on, Fratello and Ace. So nice wordplay on the flying, Rob. Stay tuned, all of you, for more to come. Rob Nuts is on a roll. He's coming with his comments. I'm really not as funny as I think I am. Well, we do think you're funny, Rob. Ralph is back. He's answering my question. Yes, for sure, do a collab. Awesome, Ralph. Thank you so much for sharing your feedback on that. Watch Telly again. Already did. Thank you, Telly. Appreciate it. So, Giles, I'm running through it quickly. Few questions from fans that couldn't join us earlier on. You have a very big fan, a family actually. All 4 members love Bremont. I won't say their surname due to privacy, but Christian, the son, sent in 2 questions. His first one is, what project have you worked on, which is your favorite?
God, that's a difficult one. There's so varied, all our projects, and anything from working with the code breaker at Bletchley Park to, I think more recently, I've really enjoyed the limited edition work with Ronnie Wood on his hand painted dials, only because I've never seen, these are 37 completely unique watches, all custom built, and I think it's quite and Ronnie's the nicest guy. I play in a band with Nick. We both play the guitar. And
the guitar behind you.
Yeah, so I've got watches and guitars. I could collect them all day long. And my father used to play banjo in a bluegrass band, and so meeting Ronnie Wood and we did a clock with him about 8 years ago, and sitting there, and he's the nicest guy, and we created these beautiful watches. So that's probably one of my favorites.
That was a cool project, yeah. Okay, thank you for answering that. So he also asked, what's your favorite mode? Why?
I think an old biplane flying on a summer's day over the sea, wind rushing through your helmet. The last time I flew one of those, though, I crashed and broke my back in 3 places. So probably not my finest, but I have fond memories. I used to have an old gypsy moth, and an amazing thing.
Thank you. So you actually answered the last question. So
yeah, that's
that. That was Yap who asked that question. Then last question, and then we'll let you go. This is a enthusiastic watch collector, Vito. How is it to run your company together with your brother?
Well, you can answer that one as well. I tell you what, running a business is incredibly stressful. You've got your highs and lows the whole time. You've got euphoria and you've got complete depression, and working with someone who you trust is a massive part of it. And Nick and I have been through so much together, and it's been amazing to work with him. So that's been wonderful. And then the other side of it is we're designing stuff all day together. And whether it's your branding, whether it's a partnership, but most importantly, the watches. And if you like the same thing, it makes it very easy and quick to agree. And Nick and I have always liked the same thing. So it's a unique relationship, and I'm really lucky to have him around. He's an amazing guy.
Nice, amazing. So I think we should leave it at this. Any more questions accumulated on the platforms we're broadcasting right now, we'll maybe summarize them in an email and maybe get back to him. Giles is very active on social media, so follow him as well. So I want to thank you so much, Giles, for taking the time to sit down with us. I have a zillion more questions for you, but if this platform, the Ace List Live, is a success, maybe we can do another one. Maybe we can do a panel discussion with Nick as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
And when life's getting a bit open, we'd love to come and do another event with you.
Yeah, please. We did actually multiple events with Bremont in Amsterdam. Nick has visited. Giles has a rain check. So post COVID-19, we'll definitely organize something in Amsterdam as well as Hemley-on-Thames. So this was the first one for everyone watching and giving us the trust and the time to watch. Thank you so much. Tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. So 13:30 Central European time, summertime, we have another special guest, which is Pascal Ravessout. He officially works at the Foundation de la Horlogerie, FHHA, but he's a big watch fan. I'm quite sure, Giles, you're tuning in, right?
Oh, of course.
So thank you, everyone, especially Giles, Team Bremont, for all the support.
Hello.
And see you soon.
Thank you everyone at Ace Jewelers, and thank you everyone for watching. Really appreciate it.
Cheers.
You take care. See you. Bye.